欢迎大家来到这黑屏点爱的 Community 3月的聚会。然后我们是很荣幸可以跟美国创新中心合办。那 Jerry 在这边，Hi Jerry，
嗨，大
好，
家好。
嗨，好。然后那我们就直接开始哈，不拖台。对，那如刚刚说的，就是我们有这个 Slido，然后 Slido 的这个 code 是这个 HDN 2.5.3。然后如果大家可以的话，帮忙感谢绿茶，对，感谢帮忙贴一下这 Slido link。那我是薛阳斌，Woods，我是薛阳斌，大家叫我布丁。那我这个活动叫 Happy Designer，是因为我的第一个 job title 叫做这个 Happy Designer，然后后来我的 job 都变 founder 嘛。但是这个如游戏里面说的，我从来也是个探险家，直到我膝盖中了一箭。那这个名字用了20年之后就没有办法改了，这样。所以这个活动叫 Happy Designer，它是一个 developer 的这个聚会。那所谓 developer 就是你只要在 build 东西，我觉得就是都可以说你是 developer。Yep。那今天的 agenda 首先是阿 K，那阿 K 跟大家打个招呼吗？
Hello，大
嗨，
家，对，嗨，我是阿 K，然后现在在 Meta，然后目前在西雅图，先这样子。
等一下交给你了那第二位是 Grant，那我 Grant 就不用打招呼了，我们待会直接听他讲，我非常期待。那以及说接下来的话，这个是我跟硕士代的智仁哥，我们会有个 panel discussion，我们也会协助 curate 这个 Q&A。OK，这个 opening 就不放了，但是大家要练习的地方是这样哈。那我们来大家练习一下哈，就是如果呢这个讲者讲完的时候，麻烦大家请给掌声，掌声你们可以按那个下面的 emoji icon，或是可以直接的，就是谁需要 mute 一下吗？谁需要 mute 一下吗？
请一下哈，在礼拜天的话，
让我找到需要 mute 的人，把他 mute 掉。
最晚就
Who is the one need to mute?
嗯，
Just mute, mute,
很
mute,
早吗？
mute, mute,
8:50，对不起。
mute, mute。OK，好，安静了。好，好，大家请练习一下啊。那个我讲完了一个如何这个 mute，然后请大家帮忙鼓掌一下啊。对啊，谢谢大家，谢谢大家。好，OK，mute 连续剧。好，那这个进来的马主任，我下次就要开 mute。那如果有讲者 like demo，比方说 Grant 如果不小心他 demo 如何这个自动做出简报的话，大家记得哈，就是这个不是掌声而已，记得要放烟火。那大家练习一下怎么放烟火好吗？谢谢大家。对啊，谢谢大家。好，对对对，非常非常非常棒。对，great。好，那然后如果你要当讲者的话，你可以看一下这个我们做好。那有些有趣的事情哈，就是说哇，这页看起来真糟糕。好，那首先是因为我下个礼拜我会去湾区，那我可能会想要办一个这个 in real life 的 meetup，时间未定，地点未定。那以及说这个USD SF 他们也有一个 IO，然后这时间在这个3月22号，Albert 有在吗？Albert 好像不在。好，那就是欢迎去到 Albert。然后那另外的话呢，我们4月的这个活动已经公布了，时间是4月18号。然后我请了这个陈汉生，然后他现在是这个 Microsoft 的 Design Team，然后以及 David，他是 AJ 大宇创意的共同创办人。好，我还找不到谁要跟我 panel discussion，这两个人都是 user experience 的这个大大，这样。好，那欢迎大家这个踊跃报名。OK，那就阿 K 交给你喽。
好，我 share 一下我的 screen，然后如果
好的，
大家可以看到的话，可以给我一点暗示吗
看得到，看得到，看得到。
？OK，好，那我就
好，
开始。首先感谢布林今天邀请我，然后我觉得就单纯是分享一些我自己工作上的心得跟学
wait
习。
wait，
然后
不好意思，不好意思，你的耳机可能直接拿下来哈，因为你的 AirPod 会变成机械音。
我吗？好，
对，
稍微等我一下哦。
好的，没问题。应该不是只有我听到机械音，就会变成被 AI 统治的人类这样。现在听不到声音。Hello，Hello。 你可以一直讲话，我们才听得到。没有，没有，没有，没有，有
听得到
三只猫
吗
猫啊，现在听得到，听得到，三只猫猫从要继续讲。OK，cool，
天哪，好，真是一个可怕的开场。OK，
好，我们
首先
重来一次啊，好，谢谢。
好，感谢大家。然后就是先感谢布丁今天邀请我来讲。然后我的讲题其实比较专注在 PM 的这个职位，然后还有在所谓 AI 时代，我们 PM 到底要怎么样去利用这个东西，让我们的生活变得更美好。这么说好了。然后快速做一下自我介绍，刚刚讲过我是阿 K，然后现在是 Meta Facebook 第8年，然后我是 Technical Program Manager，那基本上可以把我理解为后端产品或平台的产品经理。那我现在处理的是一个内部公司用的数据平台，然后有大概60位工程师这样子。那有些声明还是要先讲哦，因为我觉得在公司规模比较大的情况之下，其实我们动的也比较慢，然后很多东西其实公司会要求我们不能跟任何外部的工具操作啊、使用啊等等，所以可能大家对于其他东西的发展都比我了解的还要多很多。那第二个是我今天没有办法分享任何跟 Meta AI 还有 Llama 模型的主题，也没有办法回答，我很抱歉。但因为我自己也不是做那一块的，所以可能问我也没有用这样子。但我还是先下一个大家的 expectation。好，今天主要几个重点想要讲，就是我看见大部分产品经理的困难，跟我觉得产品经理其实最重要、最应该专注的事情。那我今天的主轴会比较限缩在决策力升级，我们要怎么样透过 AI 更好做决定？因为我觉得产品经理就是一个无止境在做决定的角色。那假设我没有额外的时间的话，我会提及沟通力这件事情，我觉得也很重要。那有任何问题，Slido 连接谁帮我放一下，然后你们可以放在那边，谢谢。先从我觉得产品经理的日常跟困难开始哦。我自己现在有 mentor 其他人，然后我自己有很多同事，甚至我自己刚开始这个工作的时候，我都觉得，对啦，产品策略思考很重要，可是我根本没有时间呐、你说的我都懂，实际上我的时间都花在开 ticket、写文件、回答各种随机的问题，特别是来自主管的，特别是来自老板的，然后要么参加会议，要么在去参加会议的路上。我并不是说这些事情不重要，而是因为这件事情占据了太多我的时间，所以就算我知道大家都说产品策略很重要，但我根本没有时间去做这件事情。那我觉得这就是为什么当我们每次看到一个所谓世界级的产品经理啊，这些能力我知道啊，我都懂，可是我真的没有时间去处理那样的事情。就是我自己在过去10年在海外的经验，新加坡也好，
阿
伦敦
P，sorry，我 interrupt 一下，不好意
是
思，这个活动禁止录影，然后有谁录影，我现在把你赶出去。好，谢谢。
吓坏。好，然后就是我认为啦，过去10年我在海外不同的经验，我看到说实话，厉害的产品经理不外乎就是这3个面向。你要么可以找到别人找不到的东西，你要么有办法做出很关键的决策。对我来讲，关键的决策在于说不，说 yes 很简单，说 no 很困难，所以对我来讲，这才是叫关键决策。那最后就是你有没有办法让其他人看见你眼中看见的世界，也就是所谓的沟通跟影响力。真实的例子哦，这个是布丁分享给我的 Linear 的产品文件，我觉得这是一个很不错的文件。当然还有其他地方我觉得也很重要，可是我觉得真实的例子会展现在刚刚3个能力怎么样同时出现在一个文件里面，甚至都出现在第1页里面。它会很直接的告诉你说，啊，虽然使用者有这些问题，但通常会间接的显示在这部分的 feedback，所以它会直接告诉你说，间接所谓的洞察力。第二件事情，我们也考虑过其他的选项，但我们决定不前往那些选项。你要怎么说不？也就是所谓的决策力。最后是沟通，你会发现大部分现在厉害的产品文件都会把 product messaging 放在最上面哦，因为现在这是一个 product manager 存亡的时机哦，所以基本上大家都会把 marketing 文件放在最上面，就是你要怎么让大家看见你看见的世界。所以你会发现，eventually 厉害的产品文件都环绕在这3个上面，然后这3个东西你要怎么写得好，我觉得就定义了你作为一个产品经理，你的高下之分在哪里。哎，我的电脑卡住了，我很抱歉。好，那既然有这样子的一个脉络，我自己想要提及我现在怎么使用 AI 在日常生活中的 use case。那我有2个，一个是红绿灯决策架构，另外一个是沟通力的部分。但我今天会着重在红绿灯决策架构。那沟通力的部分，如果我有时间，我会提及。 那假设我希望有了，因为我觉得那也是一个很重要的部分。好，这边我要放慢一点速度，然后如果大家有问题呢，请让我知道，因为现在开始感觉可能要进到一些很 PM 的讨论。什么叫红绿灯决策架构？就是说，就像我讲的，我觉得产品经理是一个很常在做决定的人。然后以前我在 Facebook 的 mentor 会跟我讲说，重点不是做决定，而且产品经理要对那些决定负责，因为你一旦做错了，你就是要负责这件事情。不会有人说啊，因为 DS 数据拉错，不会data scientist 数据拉错，也不会有人说啊 engineer 这样写烂，因为你是产品经理，你就要负责，你就要做决定。那做决定的时候，最麻烦的点在于你要怎么知道这是一个正确的决定？就说最简单的例子，今天晚餐要吃什么，然后你有很多选项，其实这是一个很直观的东西。你会发现，当把选项列出来的时候，你可以很快速的看到说，OK，这是我的参考标准，这是我的选项。那你就可以很快速看到说，再怎么烂，你也有海鲜意面吧，至少它没有红灯，非常非常非常快速，对吧？那作为一个产品经理，为什么这件事很重要？因为这个选项它其实变得很难，它可以变得很难很难很难。然后这个评估的标准也可以变得很深很深很深。你要怎么去找到正确的选项跟正确的标准去评估你要做的事情是不是正确的？我觉得这就是可以走得很深的部分。那我现在换另外一个分页，然后请大家告诉我你们有没有办法看到我的内容。好，谢谢。
所以
刚刚的那个海鲜意面与否，因为我在试讲的时候，布丁说那例子很烂，那他就给了我一个，他就给了我一个比较困难一点点的例子是，哎呀，如果你今天是美国波音客机的顾问啊，你要解决问题是大家现在对波音的飞机都没有信任感啊，你要怎么办？所以他那时候就说，给我一个脑筋急转弯，你告诉我你应该怎么办？一模一样的问题哦，你会发现这个东西其实非常适合用所谓的红绿灯模型来分析，因为你会有不同的方案。当你有不同方案的时候，你就会想要去评估到底哪一个才是正确的，我应该要带领团队做哪一件事情。例如说，我应该全面透明吗？完全公开所有的资料？我应该要跟国际组织来提升我的安全标准吗？还是我应该花更多时间在培养我的技师？那这部分你会看到左边的部分，有效性、所需时间、金钱成本、复杂度等等等等等，这些就是作为 PM，甚至是作为人类 PM，对你来讲，为什么这件事情重要？然后你会列出来，你当然可以列100个，可是当你列100个的时候，你就发现这就是一个错误的决策模型，因为你根本没有办法下决定。所以，如何找到最重要的那些帮助你做决定的事情，我认为这是人类 PM 能够做到最好的事情，这也是展现你价值的时候。那这些方案基本上是我让 AI 生成的，所以我很抱歉。可是 again 又回到这个，就算你今天什么都不懂，你不仔细看这个表格，你都可以看出来呀。方案一看起来就是一个无脑方案啊，它根本没有红灯呢。而且好处是什么？它所需时间最短，好赞。所以你会发现，当你把所有的东西转化成这样子一个红绿灯决策架构的时候，你可以有办法很快速的找到实际上某些方案他们为什么好，为什么坏，跟你要怎么做取舍。今天在这一个脑筋急转弯的例子里面，实际上我们讨论的是，如果我今天是个产品顾问，我要怎么去解决信赖危机在90天之内。所以，我今天作为这个人类，我的回答是我一定要确保我的方案有办法恢复大众信任，这是我放在第一个的条件。因为如果没有这个，那什么都不用谈了。第二件事情，它一定要在90天内，对吧？所以你会发现，我自己也在排序这些我觉得最重要的 priorities，然后来比较。第一个方案很赞，没有红灯，那它就特别好吗？不一定。为什么？因为实际上我有90天，可是其实一半的时间我搞不好就做完一的，而且其实它的有效度并不是最高的。所以如果我今天要给出作为人类，我今天要给出一个很明确的评估的话，我会觉得如果一做完，搞不好我根本有时间做二。那我要怎么做二？有趣的事情是，当我在跟 AI 聊天的时候，他给了我一模一样的结果，他也叫我，哎，你先方案一再方案，这不是我生成，这个整个文件基本上都是我在聊天聊出来的。所以你会发现，其实它会跳出这个框架，它不会说哦，请你选一或请你选二，它其实也告诉你先选一再选二。那其实这很重要，就说 OK，你怎么从一过渡到二？我觉得那要回到说你怎么去进行你的评估。那当然你可能会有3、4、5、6、7、8个交通灯模型，但这是接下来的事情。那这整份文件哦，其实完完全全都是我透过跟 Cloud 聊天聊出来的。那我有进行一些 formatting 的修改，但我只想要说， 这样子很快速生成这个东西，你有办法找到合理的东西，要怎么去做？且他甚至，比如说我在跟 AI 对话的时候，他就说：“哎，你其实有哪些风险你应该要在意，以及你最后要怎么评估你的方案是不是正确的？作为一个产品顾问，这一整份文件基本上你都可以透过聊天聊出来。那这份文件我会说，它已经87分像我自己平常在内部写的东西，甚至是偶尔需要跟主客博聊天的时候写的东西，都会长得几乎是这个类型。那这个东西我把它称为交通灯模型。中文是我取的啊，它英文叫 traffic lighting。那我有给 source，然后我会把这个 slide 给大家，就是你们如果想要有兴趣的话，也可以去看这个东西。但我只想要 call out 说，我认为 PM 的价值是找到最重要评估的标准，再去比较你的方案。那所有剩下来，你要生成这个表格啊，你要请他帮你判断有可能遇到的风险啊，都可以让 AI 去协助你。好。耶，我有时间讲这个，非常非常快速。就是在刚刚的交通灯模型，你应该会发现一件事情是，我很在意这个东西够不够，一开始就让人家觉得清楚。我想要让大家一看到这个表格就知道我在干嘛。那这个东西我叫做 extreme clarity communication，也就是说，不管你今天是谁，你有办法看到我看到的东西。我不希望我今天讲一个说啊，我想要做这个方案，然后我老板就说，那你有想过 A 跟 B 跟 C 吗？那我觉得这有办法证明说我有想过嘛，可是就不对嘛，因为你看健身餐盒这么贵，我怎么可能选它？就是你要有办法很快速的告诉他为什么你做某些决策，这就是所谓的 extreme clarity。那我自己平常的习惯是，针对不同的对象，你一定会讲不同的话。然后我觉得沟通在 PM 的这个角色非常重要，因为你要让大家看见你看见的世界。所以对于主管，我通常只会讲说，我现在在哪里，我有没有需要你帮忙？没有，拜，结束了。你根本不需要找细节，因为我觉得这才是正确的跟他沟通的方式。因为如果他今天要很细到啊，你要讲什么，你要讲什么，你要讲什么，你还是可以写给他，可是你可能会花更多时间在解释你讲的东西，给他听再一次，对吧？所以实际上，我觉得这个东西的练习也可以透过 AI 有很大很大幅度的进步。因为如果你可以把你的 AI 训练成不同的人设，比如说像我有一个 model，基本上就是专门在处理啊，请帮我准备 VP、Vice President 以上等级的报告。我过任何东西，我就跟他讲说，你觉得他会在意这个吗？然后他都会很告诉我说不会。然后最后删减减，然后最后我都只剩3行，然后我觉得很赞，因为我就不用花太多时间在讲各种内容。所以这就是一个我同时觉得我自己平常最常使用的东西。最后，我觉得其实最重要的事情是，你要怎么样让这个技术或这个工具本身让产品经理专注在最值得专注的任务。回到一开始讲的，当你只有5%在做产品策略思考的时候，我觉得你真的实际上带来的价值反而变得很有限。就是我们要怎么样让这整件事情，要么变得更有效，要么变得更有效率。对我来讲。那 PM 的强项对我来讲是人机洞察，你会拥有第一手的资讯来做出产品决策。就是说，我会知道老板最在意的面向是什么的，他就应该被排在第一个。当我做决策的时候，我也会知道老板最想听的话以及他熟悉的语言是什么，所以我有办法沟通。那我认为 AI 好处是，它可以帮我整理内容，而且它超客观。当它在做交通灯模型的时候，我甚至有很多红黄绿，我的啊，这个应该是红吗？这应该是黄吗？可是它可以直接生成，完全减少思考盲点。那纲要跟整理我也可以交给他，因为他可以直接帮我修饰所有的语言，好让我不会激怒我老板。那最后重点是 PM，我们来验证 AI 的观察有没有合理，我们来思考背后商业逻辑到底是什么，然后我们才有办法规划下一步的策略动作。那最后给大家一个小小的练习，就是希望大家可以练习成为10倍 PM，就是说当你有办法很快速的做决策，很快速的沟通，然后不用担心很多修剪剪啊，这个要讲，这不要讲啊，等等等等的时候，我觉得有可能你会有更多时间释放出来去做我觉得值得专注的事情，让自己专注在绝对不能搞砸的任务上面了。那这是我的最后一页 slide，然后感谢大家。
耶，感谢感谢
我先 stop sharing，然后好让我可以
呀。
大家脸，抱歉。
好好，那我们待会到 panel 的时候，我们再统一做 Q&A。那Grant，Grant can you share screen？
Yes.
I demand you to live demo.
Uh, so- sorry?
Okay, I say you should live demo. Okay, but
I can go?
yeah, sure, you can go
OK
now. Yeah.
大家好，我的国语很烂，所以我用英文 present to you all, so I don't embarrass myself too much. It's really great to meet everybody. I am Grant, the CEO and founder of Gamma. Some of you may have seen the product we're building, and yeah, today I want to share a little bit more about the journey we've been on building the product. Would love to also, just answer questions in terms of for anyone that's thinking about building early stage startups, what the process might look like today, and what I think are the right things to be thinking about. So I'll share just by starting off with the story that we've been on. So I started my career in investment banking and consulting. So I lived in slide decks. I used PowerPoint, throughout my career. And the last startup I was at, when it was acquired, I went back into consulting and doing advisory work. So I was using Google Slides. And one night, really late, when I was trying to present something create a presentation for a client, I had this realization that there has to be a better way. Slides were invented almost 40 years ago. Can we reimagine the building blocks from the ground up and try to come up with something new so that people that don't have design skills or resources can create something and express their ideas? So that really was kind of the beginning. November 2020. This is still, peak pandemic when we started the company. In 2021, we launched our private beta. So we put up a wait list. We allowed anybody to sign up for the product, but there's a very, very early version. This was pre-AI. It was just very, very simple building blocks, but the building blocks allowed you to create content without having design. It was all about writing first, content first. And so we kept on working on that. In August of 2022, we launched our public beta. We announced it on Product Hunt, and we ended up winning Product of the Day, Week, and Month. So it was a nice launch. This was still pre-AI, so it was all about just getting the initial user experience right. And then in March 2023, we launched Gamma and its first set of AI capabilities. So this allowed you to combine things like, leveraging large language models to help you create a lot of the text and then start organizing that text in a visual way so that you can actually understand the information in a new way. So we started that in 2023 with some of the more basic features that we offered. And then in June, we eventually launched our general availability. So anybody can go into the product and start paying for our paid tiers, which came with some more advanced AI capabilities. And here we are today in March, and we're just about to reach 50 million users globally. And we still feel like we're just getting started. And so I wanted to share a little bit about kind of our inspiration for wanting to build Gamma, and then also hopefully do a quick demo, and then save some time to talk about what I think this means for the future of startups in general, in terms of anybody that wants to build their own startup. I want to share some of the lessons I've learned in building Gamma and how we're thinking about building the team. So when we think about our mission, we're trying to really help people bring their ideas to life. So much of what we do every day, we have these ideas in our head, but we need to express them. We need to share them with the world. We need our, coworkers, our partners, our clients, our customers to understand what's in our head. That's not always easy. And so if we can, as a tool, as a platform, as a technology, make it easy, make it effortless, then hopefully more good ideas just get out there. And also then those ideas can continue to be shaped by everybody else around you. So we think about basically our mission, our goal is really to help change the way people communicate. We are inspired by companies like Facebook early on talking about how if we can help change how people communicate, then you have a chance to really change the world. And so when we think about what we are building at Gamma, it's not just trying to build another piece of software. It's not just about building another tool or a platform. We're actually trying to invent a new creative language. So a language that if anybody can learn, it helps unlock new capabilities. There's many languages out there, Chinese, English, where if you learn those as a human, they unlock opportunities for you because you can connect with other people in the world. In our opinion, tools and software can also be another language. And if you learn those tools, maybe they unlock possibilities for you, whether it's starting your own business or pitching your idea, or even just collaborating better with your coworkers. And so that's what inspires us, is this idea of building this new language. And when we think about how we want to build Gamma, we think about this tool that, what if when you use software, it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like, oh, I have to do this thing, so let me open, PowerPoint, or let me open something, and there's the dread of having to do that. What if all the ideas you have could instantly get out there, so that as soon as you have that idea, you can express it in a way, and then you can continue to shape it? What if it was that simple? What if it felt more like pure imagination? So, we all know the feeling of daydreaming and how effortless and fun that can feel. What if work could also feel like that? And so that when you can share with the world and you can work quickly, like the notion of productivity and collaboration and creativity all kind of get combined into one unique experience. That's really what is driving and motivating us. So I'll give a quick demo just to showcase the product for those that haven't seen it. And maybe before I even show the current product, I'll show you the very, very first prototype. So this is what we used to pitch the product back in 2020. Three of us, we were working nights and weekends. We didn't have a company at the time, but we were passionate about the problem. So we said, okay, what if we could just give ourselves some time to create a prototype, so that the prototype, if we felt like we're confident enough, we can use it to pitch investors. And so this is the initial prototype. It's something that feels a little bit like a document, feels a little bit like a slide. So you can actually have the slider here. We can go into slide mode and then present. And it's also interactive. So we have each one of our LinkedIn profiles here. So I can tell you, hey, this is me, this is my experience, this is my co-founder, James, and this is my co-founder, John. And it's a very more interactive experience than you would get, with a typical slide deck or even a document. And then I can walk you through all the, our research we've been doing about the history of PowerPoint and what it looks like today, and how this is what it feels like. Oftentimes you're standing in a room and this tool that was invented such a long time ago, I can tell you the story of why we think there might be a better way. So again, this was the very, very initial version of the prototype. And it still has many aspects, kind of the spirit of what we had here, had some of the initial ideas of what eventually became Gamma. I even embedded a video of myself. And so this was kind of the inception. This is a little bit over 4 years ago. And over time, we've started building that product. And so now when I go into Gamma, we can actually just maybe play around with something here. I'll go ahead and actually just generate a presentation. So we might do something like present on history of gamma.app. So I'm going to create a presentation for myself and just to see what happens. And I'm going to hit a generate the outline, and it's going to go out and start researching this topic. In this case, it's going to start researching Gamma, which is fun. So we're able to see, hey, it kind of matches what I just told you. We started in 2020. We had some initial exploration. 2023 released AI. And then it has, basically talking about the problem and why we're passionate about this. So I can start there, and then I can then say, do I want AI images? So do I want Gamma to use AI to generate images? Do I want it to go out and search the web for images? In this case, I'll just do something a little bit simpler. I'll just choose illustration so you can get a sense for what that looks like. And then I'll hit generate. So now it's actually going out. It's taking that outline that we created, and it's creating this initial version of this presentation. So it's going out and actually filling it out for us so we can see what this looks like. So this is pretty fun. It's already able to go out there, create a lot of the things that we've been talking about. It even captures, a lot of the value props we cared a lot about early on. So things like being mobile friendly, things like it being good for real-time collaboration, all things we feel like were really important. And so instantly it's able to pull that. Obviously, you can continue creating content as if Gamma was your design partner, and AI is able to continue helping you refine this content. We can go in with any of the images, refine them, change these to be AI generated images if we wanted to, rewrite it. We're actually developing a lot more powerful AI that's released next month. So hopefully we'll be able to see some of that soon. But the idea is to really kind of use this foundation that we now have and continue to push the boundaries on what's possible. So it's definitely a fun product and a fun category to build in. And so with that, I wanted to, now that we've talked a little bit about the foundation of the product, I wanted to segue into just things I've learned as a founder, because I think the past 4 years has taught me that in many ways, the startups that are being created today have a chance to really reimagine the playbook. Like, what does it mean to hire a best-in-class team? How do you want to build the team the right way? And for me, I want to just share a few of these lessons. Actually, I'll also share this maybe after with in the chat. But basically, we recently were featured in the New York Times, being talked about as basically thinking about how these AI startups are being built today. And so many of the lessons I'll share now and walk through are also outlined in this article. So basically, when we think about hiring today, our team is pretty small. So like I compare Gamma to in terms of our revenue traction and our growth, when I compare that to the last couple startups I worked at, I would say in our current stage, we would probably be around 200 to 300 employees, based on how previous companies that I worked at were built. Today, we're 28 employees, so we're 1/10 the size what I think the last generation of companies were built. And what I think that means is, we oftentimes talk about the 10x engineer or something. I think in many ways today you can build the 10x team. 10x team means that you don't need to have the 200 employees that you would have had to have before. You can have a much smaller team where everybody can be what we call much more of a generalist versus being a specialist. A generalist doesn't mean they don't have any, spiky skills. It just means they can do a lot of different things and they can learn a lot of different things really quickly. And I think with all the AI tooling that's coming out here, we have a chance to have people that can learn, leverage new AI tools to really accelerate all of the work they're doing by themselves. And when there comes specialty tasks, you can actually leverage AI to then end up doing a lot of that, rather than having to learn all the individual tasks or hiring someone for a specific need. As a generalist, you might be able to pick it up and be able to do that. So across the board, on our design team, our engineering team, our marketing team, people don't have necessarily traditional backgrounds. They have, our head of design is someone that codes. He is also very visual in visual design, and he's the head of design, so he oversees the rest of the design team. So he knows basically how to piece it all together. But that's not a traditional path. Like to have a set of designers that also know how to code is pretty rare. And I think we've been able to lean into that, and that's just allowed us to do way more than I think we could have otherwise. We also hire what we call player coaches instead of traditional managers. So, traditional managers, you have people managers that their sole role or focus mostly is on managing the people reporting into them. So they spend a lot of time on one-on-ones and interfacing with the people and making sure each individual is in a good place. Well, when you have a much smaller team, you may not need as many people managers. So we hire what we call player coaches. Player coaches are people that can be ICs, so they can do the individual work. They're still very, very technically skilled and talented, but they also really love mentoring and coaching the team members around them. So they might have way more experience in one area, and when a more junior person on the team is trying to up-level themselves, you have the player coach to step in and actually offer that guidance. But their day-to-day isn't just managing the people. So you surround yourself with player coaches, then you as a founder have less onus to have to be responsible for really getting everybody the right training. You have so many coaches on the field that everybody has a chance to learn and grow, and it's everywhere. It's not just limited to what the founders can offer, or limited to what your best managers to offer. It's surrounding the entire workforce. So that's been a very, very powerful thing for us. And then, I think the obvious thing that people talk about is you need to have, invest in culture and things like brand. I honestly think these are things you need to invest in early, but it changes over time. When we think about culture and brand, there's the saying that culture and brand are two sides of the same coin. I think of it as brand is really a reflection of your team's culture. So you start with building what you believe to be the right culture first and foremost, And then over time, you'll have a product and a brand, and the brand should really represent what you believe, what you value as a company. So over time, when we started creating our own culture deck, I'll share kind of some of the initial version of this. We started by basically creating two different versions or two different categories of what we put into the culture deck. One is the behaviors we celebrate. So these are like the individual traits that someone on the team has. And for us, the way I ended up writing this was I would just think about each one of our team members, and I would just over time write down all the characteristics I felt like, you know, the behaviors that they basically exhibited already. And I would collect all of those. So every team member we added, I would watch them, I would note it down. And then over time, I was able to write a set of behaviors and put it into this deck to say that I actually think this is very, very authentic to the team we have. Now, as we hire the next 10 people or the next 20 people, I want to ensure that their DNA matches this DNA. It's the same sort of individual that we're trying to hire. It's the same mindset, the same behaviors. And if we can do that well, then over a long time horizon, then everybody in the company has a very much shared DNA, at least from this behavior standpoint. And the other thing we look at is, as a team, we look at principles. So principles is how does the team, not just the individual, but the team work together so that when we need to make decisions, the team knows like this is what we agreed to, this is how we operate. And so similarly, I watched how our team operated, and we basically opened it up for discussion. We said, hey, these are what I'm seeing being the principles that our team has. Do we agree that these are the most important things we want to focus on? As we scale, these are constant reminders. Anytime we have a tough decision, we can come back to this and say, hey, are we living up to these principles? Yes or no, and then move on. So for us, you know, creating this doc, what we call it, this is a living deck. It gets updated all the time. Last we updated it was last month, and it's an opportunity for us to constantly say, is this still authentic to who we are as individuals? Is this authentic to who we are as a team? And then this allows us to continue building that way. So those are kind of like the three main things that I've sort of picked up over time in terms of what I think is going to be important. And I'll just exit here. And yeah, really kind of the lessons learned. I'm still learning as a founder, but for me, it's been interesting to know that in this sort of time, sort of space and time, it's just it's a different opportunity to reimagine it from the ground up.
Wow, that's amazing. I have one question first.
Yes.
Are you pre-generated the gamma deck?
Oh, no, the one I showed you earlier, or this one?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
this
that's the
one.
one.
No, this one. Yeah,
It's
that was.
so great.
No, yeah, I didn't at all. This is all based on what the internet was able to find, and then language models able to put together. Yep.
Yeah, it's so, you know, I can use gamma to generate such a great slide by just using the generator. I think, are you cheating me? Oh my God. Yeah.
Try it again, and then let me know. I mean, we can go back to this is definitely all real, and I'll show you the initial prompt. So what I told it to do was the history of Gamma app, and this is all created. The outline was created, and then from that we generated the presentation. So yeah, would love your feedback, especially anybody that's trying it. If you're not getting some good results, this is where we're still trying to make everything better. So would love your feedback.
Yep. And I keep posting my partnership link in the chat. See how many I can get. And so let's jump into our panel discussion. And John, can you open your mic?
Yeah.
Hello.
So can you hear
Good.
me? Yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Good. So
do you have
how
any
should?
question first?
Yeah.
You can just ask.
Sure. Thank Archie and Grant for the presentation. So since both of them I think they're kind of restricted to talk more about the secret of their business. So first question,
Wait, John, sorry. So, John, can you make a quick intro to Grant? I think everyone in Taiwan knows you, but Grant, I don't think Grant knows.
Not everyone in Taiwan, certainly. Hey, Grant is John, the editor-in-chief of Business Next, which is the largest technology business magazine media in Taiwan. So yeah, glad to
And
meet
the
you
best
online.
one. And the best one. Yeah.
Well, I'll thank Buding for saying that. Certainly. Okay.
I see.
So yeah, thank you for the presentation. So the first question I'll have for you and Aki both is that for Grant first, if you are the high level executive in Meta, what suggestion would you have for their PM? And also the same question for Aki too. If you work in a Gamma, any suggestion for their the product from the PM perspective?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think, I mean, I don't know if this is only just for PMs, but I think being open to, one, just learning AI and all the different tools out there. I feel like even in the, in the Bay Area where obviously a lot of people are, very close to it, even still, not that many people have really, really embraced it. And it's moving so fast and it's moving in so many different ways that I think a PM can really superpower their entire, potential just by learning all the various tools and then figuring out over time, how does that actually, help with the day-to-day work and how does it help the team? And because most people are reluctant to try to learn new skills, I think there's just a huge opportunity. It really does feel like that.
Okay, thank you. And Aki?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if I should use Chinese or English, but I would just answer in English anyway, since this is for Grant. So I think from meta perspective, though, I will say, sorry, for gamma perspective, though, I think essentially I'm actually quite curious regarding how you balance out the focus onto flexibility for folks to customize, because now it's a lot of like AI generated. I can see you try to simplify a lot of component and just make it automated, but I also can see the need there's a lot of like professionals, they want to like, fine tune certain details. And I'm actually quite curious regarding like how you drive that balance for your product strategy next. Sorry, more a
Okay.
question than an advice. Sorry about that.
No problem. So any response to that from Grant?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're thinking a lot about that. Right now, we offer pretty limited, to your point, customization. And when you need something to fit exactly like your corporate template, there's not as much of that today. I think over time, we'll be able to bridge that gap a lot more. Today, we're really focused on more of the prosumer business, like the consumer prosumer business, because many of them don't have access to even, they don't even have the marketing team to create the initial template. And so we allow them to, through generation, create a wide variety of content that they couldn't have done on their own. We recognize that then for, to be able to go up market or go after larger organizations, we're going to have to figure out ways to offer more customization. So it's definitely something that's we're actually working on today. And hopefully over time, we can, bridge that gap.
Okay,
Would you
also,
mind, Grant, would you mind if I share your ambassador Slack?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I can share an example that it's Thomas Slack, and Grant always be responsive if I ask anything or any bug, which is really important. And they have a text list feature, when they have a new feature, just like Grant says, their head of the design will release a sample typing, or even you can play with that, and they will collect the idea from all alpha users, early adapters, let's start roll out a Google Site Explore feature. I would say, why do I need this feature? I use Gamma, I don't use Google Sites. Yeah, but everyone will give their opinion. I think which is really important and really useful for collecting ideas from your customer. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So also for Grant, I'd like to share with you, one of my friends shared his experiences last night over dinner that he was in Tokyo 2 days ago. And he was asked at the last minute to make a presentation on stage 10 minutes before he gets on. So what he did is he worked with ChatGPT to come up with a summary, and then use Gamma to come up with the presentation using your technology. So it took him only 5 minutes and solved his problem.
Oh.
And what's even better is that he said the results is is more creative than if he did it, by hand. So yeah, that's one good use case for you.
That's a great story. I should connect with your friend. That's amazing.
By the way, he is the managing director of a local VC firm. So if you have the next round of raising fund, so perhaps I can refer you to him. So I have a follow-up question for Grant that for a company your size, 28 employees right now, usually people will focus more on growth, because if you don't grow, it probably will be out of the game for a startup in this AI game right now. But you talk more about people than talk about business during the presentation. And those three summary, I mean, the generalist versus the specialist, also the player coach versus managers, and also the last but not least, invest in brand and culture. So I mean, why is that? Because right now it seems for a company like you, like Gamma, you should focus more on growth, but instead you focus more on people. So how is that?
Yeah. I mean, my philosophy for company building is always people first. There's the saying that slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And for us, I think that means when it comes to hiring the team slowly, we raise a really high bar. We've never lost an employee. So all of our employees, the 28, have been with us. And that allows us to have continuity in building the product. And it doesn't mean we don't care about growth. Fortunately, we've been growing fast, and our product is one where if people like using Gamma, they're using it to share with other people. So there is some organic virality there. If we can get the product right, then it will grow on its own. And so we're really focused on just trying to get that to a place where more and more people love using the product. They're using it often. And we think the best way to do that is have a small team that's very passionate about the product, that wants to make the best product out there, and then to do that over a very, very long time horizon. So we believe in building for the long haul.
And how to recruit and train these player coach type of employees? Is it by nature or by nurture?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, we've hired, so some of our ICs were former managers, but then they realized, in a large organization, sometimes that's not what they want, because they still enjoy coding or they still enjoy the technical work. And so they're stuck in a path where they don't have the opportunity to do both. So they joined Gamma because they were able to do the stuff they love, the coding. But then as the team grew, they realized, well, actually, it's not that I don't want to be a manager. I didn't want to be a full-time manager. So then they get a chance to kind of have the best of both worlds, where they get to coach the people around them, which are also talented and eager to learn, but not have to actually fully give up the sort of IC role, the IC work. And so that's kind of how we've done it so far. But again, we're a small team. It's a very small sample size, 28. I think in the future, as we start growing more and more and adding more and more, it's probably not all going to look like that, and we'll have to be more deliberate in how we build that out.
Okay, thank you, Grant. And then my next question is for Aki. Aki, 我们用中文可能会更方便一些哈，就是 Aki，就是说，因为你在你的那个就是简报里面，我觉得蛮有趣的，是说，因为现在其实有很多的 AI 工具可以使用，去帮助这些 PM，就是找到可能就是包括你刚才提的那些像红绿灯的那些产品的这个发展的步骤跟策略等等哦。那我比较好奇是说，那像在这样的一个 AI 工具越来越普遍可以应用的这个时代里面，就是说作为一个 PM，就是更多是可以靠自学来完成嘛？就那种传统，比如说 mentor 的这种比较师徒制的，或者是比较是说有一些有经验的主管来带领这件事情，还重要吗？就这两件事情，它是一个可以替代，或者它是互补，或者它是怎么样去往下发展的呢？
我觉得 mentorship 这件事情蛮有趣的，就是确实你可能可以跟 AI 做很多互动，来达到所谓方向带领的这个领域的发展。可是我觉得 PM 这个角色本来就很吃经验，你有没有碰过这个产品？你有没有解决过这个问题？然后你会开始有 domain know-how 的时候，我并不认为单纯透过，我觉得 AI 可以帮助你很快的学一件事情。可是他没有办法帮你深入到你有没有办法为这件事情做决定，为这件事情负责，什么样的东西是最重要的东西。那这样子层级上的差别会让我觉得你有办法快速进入一个领域，可是你走的深，可能还是需要有一定的协助。那不管这件事情是 mentor 的协助，或者是你自己 hand on 在做很多事情的情况之下，我觉得 mentor 可能确实这个角色 会被视为一点点，因为你当然可以训练一个 AI 专门每天帮你 coach 啊，然后你可以给他很多资料说这就是 Lenny 的 newsletter 在讲的事情，这就是谁谁谁在做的事情。可是 eventually 你可以知道很多东西，但你如果不实际去做，你依然卡在怎么讲 professional beginner 的角度，我觉得那也长期而言对 PM 不是一件好事。
OK，就说当 AI 工具可以帮助你，可能比较快去储备或者吸收需要的知识，但你在经验方面，你还是要透过很多实作嘛，甚至可能犯错的过程里面去累积。那所以就说那对你来讲，可能 mentor 跟这个所谓的自学的部分，它占的比重或者重要性，你会怎么去区分呢？
我觉得在职涯的不同阶段可能会不太一样。我认为早期 mentor 可能非常重要，我觉得可能会到60-70%这样子。就是如果有人可以带你，然后特别是你在非常菜鸟的阶段的时候，有一个人会告诉你怎么样做产品的方向是正确的话，那是很重要的。以后期来讲，我觉得假设你是工作超过5年以上，或是8年、10年的时候，我会觉得你自己的自学架构应该要被建立起来了。然后基本上你在找 mentor 的时候，你应该只是快速的得到提点而已，你应该甚至不需要跟他讨论任何细节的任务。
OK，所以就说，如果我们分为叫所谓 Rookie PM 跟所谓的 Senior PM 的话，就 Rookie PM 比较多需要 coaching，就是 mentor 这一边；那变成一个 Senior PM 的话，就比较多可能是透过一些自学的方式再去加强补充。
我认为是。那对于资深的产品经理而言，我觉得这也是为什么 AI 工具会让他很快速的可以学一个东西，因为我相信够资深的产品经理，他其实需要一直快速的跳换他的 focus 的，就是这里就火救完了，就赶快去救下一个东西。所以这个时候，我觉得 AI 工具又更显重要一点点。
那就是说，像在现在的很多这种，就是可能 AI 或者 AI 相关的公司里面，其实你推产品的速度是很快的，而且透过可能 beta 版先出来，在不断的更新迭代做 iteration 嘛。那同样这一块，我就比较好奇是说，就是现在的 PM 跟所谓的 BD 的角色的互动或者连接或者相关性会是什么？因为 BD 可能他要考虑的是一个更大的，就是我怎么样从公司的角度，那 PM 可能很多是从个别部门的角度，但是你 PM 做的越好，可能 BD 会越省力，或者可能 BD 这边把这个所谓的产品或者这个 business 定义更清楚，PM 也会更省力。就是说，那是一个就是一个资深的 PM 或者一个更好的 PM 来讲，就他怎么样去跟 BD 的这一块去做有更多的一些连接跟互动。
我觉得这是一个蛮好的问题哦。然后我自己就是最常开玩笑，就是如果今天有任何人不能理解 PM 在做什么，那一定是 PM 的问题。所以就是我觉得，不管你今天是要跟 BD 做互动，你要跟主管，你要跟外面的人，我觉得 PM 一定要担起那个责任，有没有办法让其他人看到你眼中看的世界嘛？这是我刚很常讲的一件事情。我自己的感觉是，确实像 Grant 讲的，我觉得未来会渐渐走向某种 generalist 的方向，就是你可能你今天作为 PM，你同时也要处理。像我自己平常会 review 工程师的 code，虽然不必要，但我觉得这样比较快。那诸如此类的，那这种事情其实就是蛮明显的，我觉得。
OK，谢谢。好，那我把时间交给布丁哦，因为布丁好像要拍团体照，是不是？
Yeah, I already invite people to take a group photo. Um, you can just accept the group photo option. If you didn't take it right, you can ask to retake the photo again. And meanwhile, I can share that people are taking photos. I think it's the best feature of a Zoom. Yeah, because you can take a photo asynchronously.
The Pudding, can we see the group photo?
Yeah. Have you seen my screen now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I will share the group photo after.
Okay.
Yeah, after the event.
And and by the way，我刚才看到有些朋友在说那个 Manning 应该是 Manning 了，李义宏。对，因为刚才阿 K 提的应该是
没有是
Manning。
Lenny，对，
没有没有，
对不起，我
哦，是
讲太快了。
Lenny 哦
是
，OK
Lenny，
OK，
阿 K 提的
Lenny，
是 Lenny。
好，
他要
那也借
热一下。
此澄清，对
对
，OK，好。
对，阿 K 提的是 Lenny，但是这个因为 Manny 也在这里。
对，一下被布丁带坏了。对，
好，没关系，那
没关系，是
也借这个
Manny 是
机会澄
Manny。
清，OK，
呀。OK，
好，没关系，
你
布丁呢，接下
说
来就交给你哦。
我们一起啊。那首先是这样，就是today lots of people come from Taipei, and also we have from LA, Bay Area, and Vancouver, Oakland. Yeah. And also, most people are software engineer and 软体工程师, they are the same. And lots of founders because Grant here today and thank Grant. Oh, thank Grant for sharing. I really like the talk today. And we have lots of product designer and product manager and project manager and product manager and PM. I think they're the same thing. And why there's a season Associate. Okay, professor. All right, let's jump into the Q&A session. I think I'm also curious about a grade. Is there any goal or imagination for Unimed goal for Gamma? And how long do you think about it? You are 68, so it's early, right?
Yeah. I mean, we just think we recently just talked about the next 10 years, the 10-year plan. So we want to keep building. We talk about trying to be a company that is worthy of being that can IPO someday, but it's a very, very far away. So we just focused on the next day for now.
I'm curious, do you want to prefer M&A or IPO?
I don't think there's a preference. I mean, I think if you are at that caliber where you could either be an independent company, be acquired by some, strategic, or IPO, those are all great outcomes.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I think every founder just wants to be able to control their own destiny. So if they have the options, the more the better.
Would you accept if Microsoft says, great, join us. We can rule the galaxy.
Never say never. Not today. We're having too much fun.
Yeah, okay, great. I will ask you privately. Miranda asked to Glenn, how did you recruit? I also want to know that. How do you recruit your first founding team? Yeah.
Yeah, we worked together at a company called Optimizely. I don't know if is an early YC company, one of the faster growing ones early on. And I worked with my two co-founders for 5 years there. John, one of my co-founders, was VP of product, and James, my other co-founder, was a senior engineer. So that's how I met my co-founders. And then actually the first 8 of us, the first 8 employees at Gamma, including the founders, were all from Optimizely.
Okay.
It was just all good lucky timing because Optimizely was going through an acquisition. So a lot of the early employees were ready to move on.
Good call. Okay, there's a question for Aki, not Ali. I know lots of Ali. All right. 那阿 K 你自己回吗？
我就不复述这个问题了。就是
是
说我觉得大家可能误会一件事情，就是你不应该看那个数量哦，数量不是重点哦。就说5个红灯 vs 3个绿灯2个，就是这不是重点。重点其实就我刚刚想要提到一件事情是你的选择标准的权重。就说如果你去，不抱歉，这是一个很烂的例子。就是如果你其实虽然海鲜意面没有任何红灯，可是其实你今天就是觉得我为了我情绪价值，我就想要吃一个超肥厚的 whatever 饭。那这件事情它就会 outweigh 所有东西，所以你不应该单纯只是看数量本身。这是为什么我回到一开始我讲的事情，就是你的评断标准是什么，然后你有没有办法去针对你的评断标准去做一个 stack ranking，这件事情是很重要的。然后你再来看说，我前面 top 3是我绝对不能 fail 的，那后面其实是可以 fail，但是我会在意的东西。那这个时候你才有办法很快速去做评断，而不是单纯看加加种种，最后几个灯这样子。
OK，下一题是，他的薪水最好看。你要回答这个吗？
我觉得是一个很好的问题哦。我觉得 traffic lighting 作为一个 framework，就是它是一个架构，它是帮助你做决策。那决策还是会有错，基于 whatever 理由。所以在这样的情况之下，你只能说你会越贴近 rational，就是越贴近 reasonable 的，应该这样讲，就是说更接近合理的判断是什么。一定会有 miss outcome 的时候，要怎么 handle it，那就是对吧？就这是一个 good learning，然后要么你 move on，要么就是你找到一个新的机会。我觉得做产品其实是一个很科学的过程，它就是不断的在做实验。就是你以为这个东西会有办法冲击你的 metric，结果它没有。那你后来学到了什么？你有办法在其他地方冲击吗？还是你要 reprioritize 你要做的事情？那这就是你接下来要怎么处理，那可能是另外一个功课，可能自己就值得再讲多久这样子。
顾客， The next question is not a question. It's thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you all. Okay, Liana is to Grant, and what's your point of view on the come of enterprise? Grant.
It's coming. We're working on it now. We have a lot of inbound, but there's to be able to serve the enterprise, there's features you need to build, but there's also compliance and I think this is a
Have
lead.
you got stuck to a compliance already?
We're working on it. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. We are working on that too. All right. Oh, this one is great. How do you evaluate the journey stake? I'm curious on that too.
Yeah, I mean, we have different ways of running evals. A lot of it is understanding. We have the text generation. We have different levels of visual generation. So just knowing is what's generated matching the intended output. We also have user generated ratings. So at the bottom of every deck, people can give thumbs up, thumbs down. And then for elements like images, there's also thumbs up, thumbs down. And so all of those are inputs into how can we make things better. And behind the scenes, we're trying to understand, obviously at scale, how do we take all of that information and continue to improve the overall experience?
I'm curious that how many people click the thumbs up and thumbs down?
I mean, yeah, it's tens of thousands, if not more, every single day.
Oh,
there's a lot of data that we're collecting there.
oh, I think like people in Taiwan never click thumbs up, thumbs down. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the overall percentage, it's small, but if you have enough people generating, then you can have a nice sample.
Yeah, makes sense. I don't think we need to answer this question at all. By the way, Clint, I want to ask a question. How do you design your how do you design and decide your culture?
Our culture?
Yep.
The team culture. So I when I was showing the deck that we showed, I was saying that the culture was defined by just looking at the people that we had hired. So their behaviors became our cultural deck. It was basically it was authentic to us. So I didn't try to like come up with them. It was just describing the team we already hired.
Yeah, but you already make a decision by hiring people, right? You're hiring people you feel comfortable to work with or you really want to work with. So you already have your baseline. So what's your baseline?
My baseline is really when I spend time with somebody. So another thing I didn't mention in the
Can you
presentation.
share the deck again and like let us know like what kinds of careers heuristic you treat the most important ones? Like I think I saw something I also respect.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think empathy should be most to me too. Yeah.
empathy first is the first one. This is for both our team or inside the team, but also to our customers. So understanding what our customers are going through.
Yeah.
Craftsmanship is just like, making sure that you're constantly trying to improve the product, improve your skills. We have a pretty
Yeah.
honest and open culture. So
Yeah.
even in bad times, everybody is honest. If we're not living up to, our standards or we're not doing a good job, we talk about that as a team. We've gone through some pretty crazy times. Right before our AI launch was when the SVB bank collapse happened and all
Yeah.
of our money was in SVB. So we had a period of time where we had to decide whether or not we were still going to do our launch when we didn't know if we could make payroll. And I pulled the team together to have that conversation because I didn't want to hide that decision from everybody. So we talked about that as a team and we decided we were still going to launch no matter what. So these are moments in time where you have a chance to choose. And then, ownership. This goes back to being a team of generalists. Everybody has to own a lot of different things because there's nobody else to do it. So they have to really own the outcome. So even if they make a mistake, that's fine. We learn. They go back and fix it. That's by design. It's like we need to have that mindset.
A quick question: how do you distinguish like accountability versus ownership?
Yeah, I mean, I do think they're sort of hand in hand. Somebody that has a high sense of ownership wants to be accountable, right? Like they are signing up for that level of accountability. So for me, they're very much the same.
The next question: can I have a mistake? I think I can just duplicate and be my version. Do you share this publicly or
Oh yeah,
anywhere?
yeah. I'm gonna post it. Yeah, I'll share it. Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. By the way, let's continue the question. Do people have a more question? I think since not. 红绿灯灯号是Aki, you can pick and you can ask me to make it our answer.
好，快速讲过，红绿灯灯号 suppose 应该是 PM 做的。我只是说，如果你用 AI 工具的话，它要帮你生成的比较客观一点。好像其他人有问到，就是怎么确定它是不是客观的。对不起，我看一下啊。Countermetric 不管怎么样，countermetric 会放红绿灯吗？我觉得 countermetric 是 goaling 的一部分，它通常不会是在你选项当中的一个评判标准，除非它就是 goaling metric 会是一个评判标准，就是说这个东西对我的 goal 有多大的影响。countermetric 基本上会是一个 guardrail，好，你去查，反正呢，就是基本上就是你绝对不能影响到的一个东西，所以这个情况之下，它应该是最低标，我绝对不能影响到的东西，但它通常不会成为一个决策标准很重要的一个选项。
John, can you mute?
Sure.
Thank you. 这个要回吗？
Sorry，
我觉得还
我觉得它不是比较，它是帮助你思考的一个架构。这么说好了，你要让它用 AI 生成，你要自己生成，你要找一个人帮你生成，随便怎么样。但我只是想要讲的事情是，我觉得如果你有意识的做这件事情的话，它会帮助你产品做决策快很多。
Yeah. Okay. Wait. The John. Yeah. I think it's my honor to have John to ask the questions. And you can ask more John later. And Grant, could you finish the answer of defining the baseline of hiring? Sure. Please.
Yeah, I guess for baseline, I'm not sure maybe what it refers to. Like, what's our
Like maybe, I think for me, when I saw someone in the first three minutes, I know I don't want to work with him. Sorry. Yeah. It's like how do you judge like hire or not hire? Like
Yeah.
if
Oh,
you
yeah.
are in a final review. Yeah.
Well, one of the things I was going to mention, a lot of our hires, especially people that are more senior, we do what's called a work trial. So they actually work for us for 3 months as a contractor or part-time before we give them a full-time role. So that's a chance for both sides to know, is it a good fit? Do we enjoy working together? And if we don't, then you can part ways. But it's a good initial test. I'd say most of our contractors end up converting to full-time, but it's, we know that's not a guarantee, and that's a really good test. But yeah, for us, our interview panel, we set a really high bar with the initial phone screen, and maybe we just trust, similar to you can trust your gut. If you don't think you will enjoy working with them, you probably are not going to enjoy working with them. But if they pass that round, then you go into the very technical interview and say, okay, we know we would enjoy working with you, but can you actually do the job? And then that's where the very technical interview can say, he or she is a good fit, but they actually don't have the right skills, so we can't actually move forward. So that's how we typically sequence it. Is first, the hiring manager sets a really high bar in terms of, are they a good culture fit? Do they feel like that's someone we would want to spend a lot of time with? If the answer is no, we don't move them on. If the answer is yes, then we see if they're actually technical enough to do the job.
Yeah. I have a follow-up question. Would you do the phone screen by yourself or your team member do that?
For most of the roles, the founders are still doing a lot of the phone screens. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And Well, usually I won't ask this question. This question, well, sorry, Miranda, but this question doesn't mean anything at all. But since we have people from Meta, I think it could be an interesting question. Grant, how do you compete with other companies like Meta, like people who can hire 1,000 RP at a time?
Yeah,
And they
I
have
mean,
lots of AI army, right?
it's very hard, and Meta's a great company. I mean, I don't think our goal is to try to like by any means think we can compete with them there. I think it's, some people, hopefully the mission, resonates, so they want to work at a small team, and what we're building resonates with them, and so of course we cast like our recruiting team casts a really wide net. We're talking to everybody that will talk to us, and when they hear about us, some people, if they like the mission and they like, the idea of working on at a smaller company, then that gives us a chance. But if we try to compete on, going head to head with Meta, there's very, little chance that someone's gonna want to take a chance on us. I think it's more does the mission resonate?
I still remember when I was in your office, we discussed about tongue, right?
Yeah,
Did you still remember that?
I
I
still
think back in
remember.
that time, you are a bit nervous about tongue,
Yeah.
complaining that, oh, they have raised so many money. How do they justify their valuation? But as a as your loyal customer, I just trust you, and I just trust like your team, and you will build the best product. And I
Appreciate
like the best product. Yeah, I don't want like Meta building a side sharing tool. What the hell? Like maybe they can like embed in my friend and have an avatar or something. Yeah. Aki, do you have any idea on that?
Yeah, I do. And since Grant is here, so I'm gonna speak in English again. I think, first of all, maybe this question is like, if you look at compensation wise, could be there it would be, like you may see Meta or any kind of like fan company pay
Yeah.
definitely much more. But the thing is, like compensation may not be the first factor for a lot of folks. Like for example, like you may care more about like work-life balance. You actually care about whether you're making impact, whether you're actually doing something meaningful for a specific, I don't know, like social impact. So those are other factors that could potentially influence your decisions. I don't really see compensation would be the only reason that you would pick a work. So I still find, I mean, certain things very appealing. That, oh, small company, they move super fast. I get chance to touch a lot of stuff. And that's well, I would say that's basically the winning point here.
Okay. John, do you have any other question to ask?
Yeah, I have one. I just like to ask both on Grant and Archie that are there any interesting books or papers or podcasts or video interviews that you recently read or watched or listened to that has some kind of leave you a big impression that you'd like to share with us?
I have one. I'll go first, maybe. This is unrelated to technology, or mostly unrelated to technology, but there's a book I've been reading or read recently called, it's about longevity. I don't know if you all are following some of the movement there, but the book called Outlive by Dr. Attia. And I don't, it's not that I agree with everything that's in the book, but I do think something I definitely appreciate is, being a founder can be very hard, but you need to have a solid foundation in terms of your mind, your body, and your heart. Like all three need to be strong. And if they're not, it makes the job 100 times harder. So making sure you always take care of yourself, your body is like absolutely a must have. Your mind needs to be calm. And then of course, if you can surround yourself with people you love and have that going for you, then everything else is easier. So it's just a good reminder. Reading through it is helpful just to see some of the science behind it as well. And yeah, hopefully it helps people, have some more energy.
Yeah, so do you exercise, frequently, or do meditation or things like that to keep yourself healthy and
Yeah, I exercise very frequently, so probably 4 or 5 days a week. I have 2 kids too, so half the exercise is chasing them around the house. And then sleep is very important. So try to go to sleep on time so that I wake up pretty early, so I need to go to sleep early to make sure I can, get ready for the day.
And
I won't say chasing kids is the exercise.
but Grant, sleep early and on time means what time exactly? Like at 11
No,
p.m. or
I'm trying to go to sleep before 10 these days. So
okay.
yeah, I used to be more of a night owl, and then I'd also wake up early, and that obviously is not a good combination. So now I'm forcing myself to move it up.
But what about email keep comes in, from your employees or from your customers after 10?
I try really hard to, yeah, just not. I mute my phone completely. I leave it in basically another part of the room. Still wake up very consistently, very early. So like 5 a.m., 4 a.m., and that's when I check it. So I
Yeah,
try.
you always reply my message and phone. Why? Don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Grant. And then Aki, how about you?
I have to say it's been a while for me to listen podcast, to be honest. And I think the latest book I read and I finished is a book, I don't even know how it's in English, but this is a book called 边界的故事. It's kind of like talking about like country borders and like what's the people living there, how they actually define the border of the country. There's some historical context whether they basically just draw a line by the pen, or actually they have certain like war and decide what a border would look like. And I just find it fascinating. But one thing I will echo to what Grant said earlier is I think most of the time when I think about podcasts and book, I really try to do something totally non-technical, like nothing about my work, like historical philosophy, etc., etc. So I can kind of like calm down and then ensure I get my leisure recharge, but not just always thinking about tech or technology.
So it's kind of balancing, right? So when you kind of get off work, you don't read things about AI. You need to read something else, right? To balance.
It's anxiety. I will say I still have that FOMO, like fear in terms of like, am I missing something? Should I read more? Should I be, on top of everything that's happening now? How if one day I need to, I basically will compete with others that know much more than me. But I feel like get to the point that no matter it's about technology or it's about like industry you are answering some fundamental questions that may not related to tech, like how do you build something that people would like? How do you imagine the language, as what Grant said earlier? And that's actually could be totally non-technical or AI related.
Okay. So by the way, did Buding recommend the book Buy Back Your Time to you? It seems like
Yep.
recently he recommended that book to everyone he met, including me.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I read. Oh, I also want to recommend to Glenn. Glenn, have you read this book before? Oh, I highly recommend it because
I'm writing it down.
it's a book. Say, how do you like hire EA to work for you? But for me, it's actually how to hire an AI as your EA. I think it's a guidebook. It's actually a user menu if you want to make AI agent for work. By the way, now I have an EA, but I asked my EA to use AI to work for me. Yeah.
So Buding, maybe you want to share this book, Buy Back Your Time, with the audience as well?
Yeah, I already posted on. No, I
Okay.
don't want to share today. Do you have any other question for Grant or Aki? By the way, I really want to thank Grant again. It's 1.5 hours. I know it's expensive for you to spend 1.5 hours here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. This is so great. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And maybe when I come visit Taiwan next time, I'll see everybody in person.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely have a gamma meetup later. Yeah. By the way, John,
Okay.
do you
Yeah.
have any other question? If
No,
we
no,
can
no,
end here.
no more question. Just wish best of luck to both Grant and Aki.
Okay. Then please everyone thank Glenn and thank Aki and of course thank John. Oh my God. Do you want to be my panel speaker next time? Let's discuss later. Yeah, in the
Sure.
mid-April.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Wow, so great. Okay, let me stop recording. And bye. Go and bye.